talk all about an ancient Gaelic language called Ogham with Colleen Berry Conway. Thank you so much. Not Irish at all.
Well, no, I'm a good American motley of ancestry. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I just want to tell folks about this. It's a lost art that you have brought back.
Well, it's something that we have definitely made popular in Connecticut and also on the internet. We're actually very popular in a lot of our social media circles that we do, but it is a ancient form of writing from about 2,000 years ago that we've turned into modern presentations and a lot of fun. My husband and I created a lot of different things.
So this is a picture of a tree, and where's the tree?
It's a stone.
Oh, it's a stone.
Yep, it's a stone.
Sorry.
So the alphabet was carved into stones, and all the stones have been deciphered to have proper names. So they were used for property markers, memorials, things like that. And when you look up close at the stone, you can see the markings on the sides, and those actually signify the letters. So the letters were just a strike mark system, similar to runes. But if you see here, it's basically the markings and the letters carved into stone.
But it's not every letter.
It's not every letter. The modern Irish alphabet actually only has 18 letters, and the Ogham alphabet only has 20. So a lot of the sounds that were represented using this alphabet were sounds that the primitive Irish language was speaking at the time, but also a lot of Latin influence for the languages. So some of the sounds that came into the primitive Irish language actually came from Latin-speaking people, because this alphabet was used at the same time that the Roman Empire was in what we know today as Great Britain.
How did you discover that you wanted to do this?
My husband and I share Irish ancestry, so it was something that we were both predominantly raised with, even though we both have a lot of different backgrounds. So when we started dating, we started doing Irish stuff together. We would go to Irish festivals, Irish concerts, Irish pubs, things like that. And we were always interested in the culture. And this was something that was unique in the culture. It wasn't a leprechaun. It was something more...
Or shamrock, I
Or
guess.
shamrock.
Right.
It was something more cerebral. It was something that was historical and mysterious, and we were just drawn to it. So we started dabbling in watercolors as gifts for families and friends, and it really took off, and people liked it. And we had purchased some pieces of Ogham over the years ourselves from other artists, mostly from Ireland.
Is it still being discovered?
No, they've pretty much found every stone at this point. Although there was a new one that was found, I want to say probably 2 years ago in County Kerry in the southwest of Ireland. They found another one, but for the most part, they pretty much stopped finding them around the 80s.
And do you have this memorized by heart, or do you have to go
the
back?
alphabet I know by heart. Yeah, I can write it as fast as I can write English. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we should have tested you on this.
Oh, you can. That's fine.
So you've built a business out of it because people who have Irish roots want to have these things in their home.
Well, that's it. It's people love to celebrate their heritage, and they love to celebrate it in unique ways. And with the Ogham alphabet, there's that mysterious way too. So you can have a piece of Ogham art in your house, or an ornament on your tree, or a bumper sticker on your car, or a tattoo on your body, which is a very popular way that people use Ogham. They actually tattoo their bodies with names and phrases in Ogham. And so it's a way to celebrate your Irish heritage in a really unique way. So it's something that we've been able to tap into.
Are you asked to go to libraries or to give talks on this ancient language?
I am, yes. I actually have done it several times. And this morning I actually spoke to a bunch of second graders.
Really? And
yes.
what were their questions? What did they ask you?
The second graders are totally different questions than the adults. I mean, the adults obviously have, when I do the lectures, we get in deep. We get into the history of Celtic languages. We get into the history of the Celts and failed civilizations. We get pretty deep when I do a library lecture or something, you know, for adults. But the kids, the question this morning was, how did they write numbers? And the answer was they did not. The Ogham alphabet wasn't used to write numbers. And she asked me, then how did they do their math homework? So kids will ask different questions. Yes.
I want to ask. So this is New Haven.
Well, this is actually County Leitrim, which is in the center of Ireland, and a good chunk of the people from Ireland that emigrated to this area, especially in the New Haven area, came from County Leitrim. So it's a central county in Ireland. But these are my bumper stickers. So I actually have the county written in English, written in Irish, and then it's in Ogham in the center. I do the Celtic nations of Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, which are three of the most recognized Celtic nations that are still around, and I do all 32 counties of Ireland in stickers, and these are all the official Gaelic Athletic Association colors. So these are their sporting colors. And these are the colors of the flag as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
So did you ever in your wildest imagination think you would be doing this?
Oh, not to this extent. No. You know, everyone, I'm not sure about everybody, but my husband and I always had a dream of having our own business, you know, and being your own boss and being able to create things. And that was always appealing to me. And when we decided to do this after our son was born and I was looking for a way to stay home and work from home, this was something that just blew up.
Yeah.
You know, we started very basic. We started with very simple things like prints, and now every month we come up with something different, a different way to...
I think it's all about the roots, right? People go back. You did this for me years ago, and this actually says Nyberg. And I have no idea how it says Nyberg, but it does. So if somebody wrote this in an actual sentence, you can read it?
I could. With some of the words, in the case of the Y in Nyberg, the ancient Irish language and the modern Irish, they don't use the letter Y. So that's actually an I in its place for the same sound. So if I were reading something like that, I might have to read the whole thing before I could determine was that supposed to be an I or a Y. But if it was an Irish word, there's no substitutions because the letters are what they are. This was used to write an Irish language. So if it was an Irish word, for example, you know, one of the words here, I wouldn't have to figure out which substitution was. I could read it right away.
What did this language sound like?
It sounded a lot like modern Irish in the sense that it was a Gaelic language. So it would sound probably as close to modern Irish as, say, we sound to Shakespeare. There would be that similarity, but the primitive Irish language was the great-great-grandfather of what they speak in Ireland now. So the language would have evolved over you know, the couple of thousands of years. But the primitive Irish was the oldest of any Gaelic language, so it still had, you know, it would have had that guttural, throaty, nasally sound like modern Irish does, but maybe a little bit more Latin influence back then because of the crossing of civilizations, the Roman Empire and the Celts, and that gets
blending of all the people.
Exactly.
It gets very, very deep.
It does.
So as you started your business, you do all kinds of things. You'll do wedding invitations. You'll do last names.
Yep, single names. I do a lot of custom work. So I do the wedding print is a very popular item that we do. The wedding invitation is one sample. I often do a photo of the couple in the center and put their names, even put the wedding date on the bottom. In that case, single names are by far the most popular because that's a uniform. That could be for a new baby or a father-in-law that's impossible to buy for. So that's a popular one. And then I do custom jewelry as well. I do custom necklaces,
which we've got some over there.
Yeah, and I do also slates. So the custom work is the most popular. Our tagline is "Your presence written in the past."
Oh, I love that.
And people, we're a narcissistic culture. We want to see our name. We want to see our name in any way it can be. So the custom stuff is really appealing to a lot of people.
Is it mostly Irish people coming to you or everybody coming to you just because they're so fascinated by this language?
It is mostly Irish people, but it also appeals to people who are just interested in linguistics or calligraphy. Or, you know, one of the things I tell, you know, people that I talk to is, I think hieroglyphics are really cool, but I'm not Egyptian. It doesn't mean I can't like them and think they're great. So a celebration of a writing system or something unique like that. We also get people who are just interested in tribal art, in ancient things that are also interested in it. But the Irish roots and the Celtic roots by far are what attracts people the most to what we do.
Are you in the minority of doing this around the country?
I'm the only one in the United States that does it to this level. I'm the only one that does it to the variety that I do. There are a few businesses in Ireland that do wonderful things, but as far as in the States, Ogham Art is by far the only one who celebrates the alphabet to this extent.
Have you connected with folks in Ireland and they know about you?
Yes, actually, there's a very popular jeweler who's very established in County Kerry in the southwest of Ireland, and he has a whole line of Ogham jewelry, and I see him at the Big E every year, and and we got our picture taken here last year, and we joke around and we talk history, and so yeah, there's a connection that way, and he loves that I'm keeping Ogham alive over here, which is what his goal is over there. So there is a mutual respect in that we are treating something of historical significance with with love.
That's terrific. And this is the national symbol, the harp.
Well, the harp, the Celtic harp is the national symbol of Ireland, the only country that has a musical instrument as its national symbol. And in the harp, we actually have the Irish word for music, which is ceol, and it's written in Ogham, C-E-O-L, which is the Irish word for music. So I incorporate the Ogham into the actual image.
That's very beautiful and very timely, because as we tape this, it's St. Patrick's Day on
3 days.
On Saturday.
That's it.
How busy are you around this time of year?
Well, for things like this, I'm very busy. It's great. It's a good opportunity this time of year because there's not a lot of shows and festivals, which is really what I spend most of my summer doing. I do a lot of Celtic festivals and Irish festivals in Connecticut, but also throughout the whole Northeast. I travel out of state and do shows now too. You know, the big fairs. And then Christmas time, obviously, there's a lot of holiday fairs. But this time of year, I focus on the culture part. So being able to come onto your show and talk about the history at a time where people have the Irish on the mind. This Friday night, I'm actually going to the New Britain Museum of American Art is having their museum after dark, and it's St. Patrick's Day themed.
Oh, that's terrific.
So I'm going to be there with my thing. So it's this time of year, it's more of the culture part of it. And
so I would imagine with your son, you're teaching him all kinds of things.
One of the best things he's gotten from this is when you see a street sign that has just a line that tells you another street is coming up ahead, you know, those yellow triangles, sure. They look like Ogham letters because they have a straight line. And so my son will say, there's an Irish letter B, there's an Irish letter A, if there's an intersection coming up. So he sees Ogham letters in things, so it's really fun. And we've taught him some Irish phrases to say so that when...
Give me an Irish saying in Ogham.
Céad Míle Fáilte, which means 100,000 welcomes. It's something that you would have a plaque in your house. If you want to give someone a toast, you say Sláinte, which means health. Yeah. So you're literally, it's like cheers, or salute, same thing. Yeah. If you wanted to say thank you to someone, you would say Goromaiget. It's thank you.
Did you grow up speaking this language?
I did not, no.
So what do your folks and your relatives think about
My dad thought it was really cool. My dad, I started this business, let's see, my dad saw about 4 years of it. And he even got an Ogham tattoo on his body to support what I do, which is really neat. And he always thought it was great because he's the reason I celebrate my Irish heritage. He would listen to bagpipes growing up. He would always go to Irish parades, whatever he can do. So he thought it was really neat, and he was proud of me for doing something creative and cultural. My mom doesn't get it as much. My mom is from Canada, so she doesn't understand why I spend this much time on my little Irish part.
Well, because you're Irish. Do you feel that there's not a burden, I wouldn't say that, but so much importance on you're taking this language, which goes way back, and keeping it alive? Do you feel the importance of that? How does that make you feel that you are keeping this alive?
I love being a part of it. I love being a part of keeping the culture moving on. The Irish culture was in danger of being stopped. You know, 100 years ago when they had the Easter Rising, it was mostly started because the culture and the language was being killed by oppression and by the British rule. So it's great to be a part of that and keeping that going, especially when there's a resurgence of it in Ireland as well. So it's kind of nice being the Yankee over here on the other side of the pond doing this. The pressure of doing it right, too, is a little hard sometimes. So I have a lot of partners that I use, a lot of bilingual people, a lot of different organizations to keep me honest and keep my facts straight, because as proud as I am to do it, I do feel the pressure to get it done right and always to make sure I'm as accurate as I can be. So, you know, which I don't think a lot of people who make Celtic gifts have that kind of pressure.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Colleen Berry Conway, thank you so much for coming on and bringing,
thank you so much,
and keeping Ogham, the language, alive.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy St. Patrick's.
Spend all night kissing and the bumper's right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing to find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store of my mind.